Okay, great. Welcome, Brent. And we're back, as they say in the new podcast slash AMA. Hopefully we'll get some people to come in with questions and things like that. It's been going lightning fast in the last 48 hours, hasn't it, Brent?
Yes, absolutely a crazy flurry, but I mean, not to be unexpected for sure.
Yeah, no. So just a general announcement. We have the dashboard up and it's mostly running. There's one thing I got to insert in there. So if you go to dashboard.gnus.ai, you'll be able to see the dashboard running and some of the transactions happening and things like that. And then we have a link to the Linux wallet that we're going to give to the first 50, the group of people in there that have Linux boxes and things like that. That is up on Google Drive right now. And I had a link on Bitly that forwarded to that, but I will give that to the admins to dole out to the first 50 that have Linux boxes. And then what will happen is right after they do that and they install the wallet and they create their wallet address or import wallet address, then I will mint them some GNUS tokens on the testnet, and boom, they'll be able to trade that and bridge in from the GNUS test EVMs into the Super Genius network. They'll be able to use some of those tokens if they want to run a job. Now we're not saying, it's going to be 100% not broken, because we did fix the bug that the syncing bug. We think we've mostly fixed it, but there could be a corner case, and that's why we're testing. Thoughts on that, Brent?
The issues we were seeing with that have seemingly been alleviated. However, we're going to need to give it, the kind of stress and real world interactions that will reveal whether there's still something there. But more importantly, I want to point out that if that particular issue were to surface again, it doesn't represent some kind of threat besides the fact that we're just talking about a test net. It just means that a node will stop interacting. It'll just all of a sudden seem to freeze up, and we have it right now. So if that should happen, it exits back out again and it kind of gets itself reset. So it shouldn't present much of a problem, even if there was a little glitch.
Yeah, and in worst case, we'll update the wallet, and then you'll just download a new wallet and overwrite the old one, and then fire it up again, and then it'll be back to business. That's what the testnet's supposed to be for. I'm really excited because we also I got us on the Apple developer account I upgraded my personal account that we've been using to a business account, and now we have Test Flight on there. So as soon as we can get the iOS builds running for the shoot 'em up, then that'll be another node that happens. So you'll have your choice of, well, you probably should download the wallet anyway, because that, on your iOS phone, because when you're looking in there, then it'll be running. But like if you run the shoot 'em up, then it'll be running a node. I'm excited. I really am. This is so cool that this is this close. And we have a long way to go to get to testnet, to mainnet. There's a few things that we want to do, but this is like really, really stress testing things. And I know you're writing some C# code to really ramp up and test, 10,000 nodes. And then we can also hand this Linux thing over to, however many nodes we want in the Philippines, if they can install it. I mean, I think they had 10 or 20,000 that they can install it on. I'm kind of not wanting to do that right away, because it'd be kind of weird for people that have a set-top box to sit there and, have something crash, So I really want to be, fully testing this with your testing system on 10,000 nodes before we start installing it on somebody's set-top box. I don't know how that would work. We got to test that too. It's like, if I have a set-top box and the thing crashes, what happens? Does it just keep rebooting, and we might want to have some safeguards in there for that says, hey, if you've crashed and you're rebooted, don't start up again.
Well, absolutely crashing like the OS is thankfully not something that either that I would anticipate, nor has that been what has happened ever before. But if you're talking about just the application, of course, having some kind of hitch where it's no longer responding, and having its own little watchdog timer so it can see that it is no longer producing telemetry, et cetera, and then just have it restart. That is an angle on that. But that's something else to be fleshed out with the massive scale tests that I'll be working on. So
yeah, so it's pretty awesome. I'm happy that this is coming along quite nicely. Now, that being said, I know we put on the ZK Snarks on hold a little bit, but we were super close with that. But that's not really 100% important. It's ultra important for the test net, but for the first phase of this test net part, it's not that important. It's more the scaling issue, in my opinion. The ZK Snark stuff is really, really necessary for bridging between the EVM contracts, the test EVM contracts, and bridging out from Super Genius. Basically, when you interact with smart contracts, the ZK Snarks are really, really important, and that's that was pretty close to being there, but we still have a week at least of getting in there and making sure the ZK LLVM stuff works. I know that's a big set of non-normalized words for people, but trust us, that's the security side of things for bridging in and out of smart contracts or bridging between different networks on the smart contracts, like bridging between Ethereum and Polygon and so on our test nets, which I think is less important at this stage because we can bridge into the Super Genius network. And then if somebody wanted to literally take out their Genius tokens, they can just ask us and then we can burn them manually and then bridge them out from the test network. On that note, I'd like to make the announcement that what we've done is what we've decided to do is basically all the testers are going to get some Testnet Genius tokens to do the testing and trade between each other and put jobs for AI into the system and kind of really stress test the system in kind of monetary value. Those Genius tokens, those Testnet Genius tokens, we have some good incentives for you because those will actually be worth exactly like if we gave out 100 Genius tokens to you, for the month or whatever, then those tokens would be given to you when after the month, where you can get those out and kind of get paid for helping us test to the regular mainnet tokens. So you'd get those 100 tokens, we'd burn those on the test net and then put them on the regular Genius mainnet for you, one of the main nets for you, so that you'd actually get paid in those tokens. And then we're setting up a bounty thing. We have a new GitHub repo called Bounties, I think, or Bounty. And our admins are taking care of that, where they're going to put in some bounties and kind of not only bug bounties, but really some, hey, you guys have been testing this for us, and the top 3 testers have been on for this amount of time. And then we're going to kind of give bonuses out for the top 3 testers, and then the top 3 bug hunters type of thing. And then we're going to, what system? I think we're going to go on
Hack and Proof.
Hack and Proof. I think that one seems to be able to allow us to give out bounties in Genius tokens. We're still trying to figure that out, really, but it says we can do it. It's just a matter of how do we put the Genius tokens in there, and I need to get online with them. So
as a SaaS platform, it'll help us to scale to a much larger testing audience. That kind of scaling that it provides, Hack and Proof SaaS offering, is not what we need right now. So the fact that we're looking at it and trying to assess, how we're going to integrate that and, when we're going to bring that online, is fine. For now, what the smaller scale of the testers we've got is completely manageable.
Yeah. And then for all the testers, basically, if you go to GitHub/Genius Ventures, Let me see what it is. It's GitHub/Genius Ventures /bounty, I think, slash bug bounty. So if you go to, in fact, I'll post this in the chat here. I don't know if that'll show up on the recording, but anyway, hopefully it will. And yeah, so you can see that. And so, like I said, there's we have the Linux stuff already on the. Did you know if we upgraded that? Because I know we were trying to change it to make sure it was executable on 64-bit Linux devices and repackage it up. Anyway, it should be within the next, right after this podcast or AMA or whatever you call it. So it's pretty good.
And yes, they can see our the link you just posted.
Okay, great. Yeah, and so also if you want to, I'll also, I don't know if this is going to go through the recording. It probably should in the chat, like when we go onto YouTube and things like that, because it's recording directly. Hopefully it does that, or else Paul can add these links to that. But this is the dashboard.GNUS.ai. That will get updated regularly. I think there's one thing I have to add to that after this. We're missing one file, but I'll set up it where when we update the dashboard, it'll automatically get updated for our devs when they push to something called the main repo. Then it should automatically. I've done this before. It takes me, probably 10 minutes, 20 minutes to set up something like that in the CI/CD system, which is so for everybody. Normies, CI/CD stands for continuous integration and continuous development, and or is that continuous deployment? Continuous deployment. And what that means is that whenever we change something in the repo, the repository that has the source code, it automatically picks that up and then deploys it so that everybody can see it. And so we don't have to, go in there and manually say, hey, update this thing and blah, blah, blah. And so it all happens behind the scenes with GitHub, which is a cool thing.
And it's an attribute of being lazy. No one wants to go do that manually, and anything that you can automate, just automate it.
Yeah, especially when you do it over and over. And I mean, I know it's like two or three things, but I've automated even most of that anyway. And so the shell script that's going to be calling is going to like have two commands or maybe three commands, CD, which means change directory, and then git pull, which means pull the source code. And then I don't even think you need to restart because the automation, the PM2 automation system says, the code's been, maybe you have to run build or something like that. I don't even think you have to do that, believe it or not, but we'll see. And then it just restarts automatically when the code changes, which is cool. And that whole dashboard will get updated. I think the other thing that we have a new website too. And so we haven't posted that yet, but I think maybe today or very shortly this week, we can, you'll go to www.2.gnus.ai, and I'd like to see people kind of maybe vote on it. I like the new website. It's very, very fast, and it's very similar to the old one, but it's pretty cleaned up and all that, but we'll see how that goes. I don't think that it's not high priority. I mean, our website's good now, but we have a really good new website that's super fast to load and things like that. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, we wanted to address the fact that the previous one, the way it was hosted and built, it was unusually slow. And while our priority is not trying to make a sexy looking website, nevertheless, it shouldn't be that slow. So this will be remedying that.
Yeah. Cool. Let's see. Did we get any questions? I mean, I know we're kind of turning this into a podcast, or what do they call this? The GNUSpective episode 2. So I also, I guess, maybe we should go on to like giving our perspective on what's going on in the world with AI. I think, that was kind of an update for us. If anyone wants to post questions, except for when testnet, I'm not going to answer that anymore. Ha ha ha. It started already. So, now now it's going to be when phase two, when can I get in? It's like, well, we'll let you know via email. Yeah. And one of the reasons for that is if you realize those first 50, when they come online, I have to go and manually mint them Genius tokens personally, or somebody in with an admin password or the admin keys have to mint them tokens on the testnet. So we'll automate that eventually, or maybe we won't. Um, yeah, we'll have to figure something out. But so since one of us who has the multi-sig keys, the keys to the kingdom have to mint that, that's why, it's kind of rolling out in phases. Imagine having 200,000 nodes online and me having to mint. Luckily there is a mint multiple call, but then I'd have to set up a CSV file, which is a text file, give it all the people's wallet addresses and how much they're going to mint, and who knows how much that would cost. Luckily, it's testnet tokens. But anyway, I digress. If there is questions, go ahead, and put them up there. But in general, I don't want to talk about the AI industry in general. I think we should start to try to do that because I wrote an article yesterday on LinkedIn. Anybody wants to check that out? It's a pretty good one. Talking about the LLMs, and there's this thing called RAG, which is kind of what we're able to do with the Genius system. Also, even though it can do rendering, its best and most useful thing is in RAG, what they call RAG. And if you look up the RAG definition, it stands for what is RAG? It stands for Retrieval Augmented Generation, and so it can help with. It's kind of a layer on top of these large language models like ChatGPT, and it can help define your guardrails. And so, as Brent and I have been talking over the last 9 months, pretty much about the use and help of ChatGPT or Claude and all that, if you read my article, I kind of explain why it's come a long way, but you still have to have human interaction. And they're working on these RAG things that help kind of refine that human interaction to automatically do things, but it has to be in a specific context. And what that means is that, like, if you, when I give it guardrails, I'll be in there, I'll be talking code with it and say, hey, no, I'm using C++ code. Okay, that's a guardrail. Okay, now I'm specifically using cryptography, and what I'm after is this and this and this in cryptography. So you have to be very specific on what you want Claude or ChatGPT to give you. And so you kind of narrow down these guardrails until you get the answer you want. It can't read your mind. And in fact, the article says that ChatGPT helped me write the article. And I had to go through like 4 or 5 things to tell it, no, this is what I meant. This is what I meant. This is what I meant. So it's human interaction with the AI. And what RAG is trying to do is take some data from like a salesperson that's giving it guardrails and put that and mush it all together so that it can actually be a layer on top of that to do that. And what that requires a lot of times, it reduces the large language model set of data down to a specific area like sales or coding or anything like that, because large language models have the world of data at their fingertips, right? That's why they're so huge with billions of parameters. But so that's kind of what the retrieval and retrieval augmented generation does is to onboard new CSRs faster. So customer service is a good one. Salesforce is using the RAG to kind of do that, but it's AI for customer service specifically. So it gets you into a vertical, and it's pretty cool because you can actually have way smaller models that can run on your mobile device. So, and again, now Genius can run on your mobile device. And so if you're accessing a smaller set of data and these RAG-based things, you can definitely run on a mobile device or set of mobile devices much easier. So that's kind of really cool to me to kind of keep up to speed on that in the AI system. All the other, we provide the infrastructure, but I'm still very much keeping my finger on the pulse of the AI technology that's the layer on top of Genius, because we want to be able to make that as seamless as possible so that they can run AI models on top of our system with a few clicks of a mouse and some setup. Which reminds me, we need to start documenting how to do that, because we have our docs.genius.ai. There's a lot of technical stuff on there, but I don't see any pages that explain how to put your models on there. So either how to upload your model, how to pay for it, and all that. And maybe we need a page on the dashboard that has the models and like these icons, and you can select the model. But we'll work on that. That's completely separate for Genius actually operating. That's just like the UI to make the UI more user friendly in the future. And so we can also leverage other products that are already out there that kind of do that, and just add a page or two to our dashboard. And that's just front end work. That's the easy stuff compared to what we're doing. So I will take a pause there and get your opinion on the world of AI as of December 5th, 2024. And just a FYI, my birthday is on the 14th. I know people, I think one time I was like, I don't want people to know my birthday. So I put December 4th on some platform somewhere, and somewhere somebody picked that up. And if anybody wants to let me know where that is, I'll go change it, because it's funny that I'm, getting wished happy birthday for the next 10 days.
And then there's me, where I'd prefer not to, reveal precisely what my birthday is. I'm a little concerned about how that gets trafficked. But of course, is how do you stop people from finding it? Eventually, someone's going to figure it out. So maybe it's no big deal. I do see a couple of questions coming in, but before looking at that, I want to make a comment about the guardrails that you were talking about, Ken. So something I find as a topic I'd like to see investigated for AI is in regard to asking AI to write code for you, because we as software developers, we have to have a judicious capacity to know it's time. It's time to go ahead and just keep this simple. Let's go ahead and have the AI write the following block of code. And something that I have kind of made as a takeaway from doing a lot of that is, you consider the training material used for that is pertinent to the results that you get. Consider using Stack Overflow as training material, which it has been used exactly that way. Is everything everyone writes on Stack Overflow as an answer to, I want some code, it's going to always be small. It's going to be decidedly small. The posters are not looking to put in a megabyte of code or 10 megabytes of code. And all the commentary they surround their little blocks of code with is, I think, why when these models get trained, that when you're asking for a more expansive answer in code, it still wants to give you this limited answer. And then you have to put in a bunch of guardrails to try to say, no, stop trying to give me this small answer. I'm looking for this larger thing. In short, the world of, write the entire program, which I is not, in my experience, is not there yet.
Not even close.
Not even close. And the training materials would have to go into a domain of, okay, well, fine, we can point at all the GitHub repos if the proper licensing were granted, and I'm sure those kinds of things have been negotiated to a certain extent. But you're not going to get all the commentary in the code that you find inside of a Stack Overflow post, which means that it's going to be that much more difficult to have the models properly understand, when they see large code bases, what does it mean and how does it relate to what's being requested?
Yeah, so just a brief interruption in that, and that's one thing I didn't discuss in my article, though, is when I was giving it guardrails, like it would say, "Oh, just do it this way," and I'm like, "Well, that's like a 2-year-old version of the libraries that no longer works and has been deprecated. So please give me this version of it." And so you have to, that's the guardrail, right? It's like, oh, just write this code like this. And I'm like, yeah, that's from like node 12. And that library, it no longer works and you can't even run that anymore because it's been deprecated. Please use at least node version 16 or NPM or NVM, node version 16 at least. I'm on 18, and then I'll be like, oh, okay, sorry about that. Here's the data, because it pulls that Stack Overflow stuff, and it could be like 2-year-old code that never doesn't work anymore. And even that's you giving it guardrails, but it doesn't know that stuff doesn't work. You have to know that, because it's like, okay, well, I know that that's deprecated. It could probably figure out that it's deprecated, but a lot of times there's no word deprecated on it. They just, it's just stale code sitting out there, and nobody bothers with it anymore because it's 2-year-old code, and you just kind of know, okay, well, that was version 1.0. I'm on 2.2. So when I asked you that, I'd have to give it like my package JSON file, right? And say, okay, here's the packages I'm using. Stop trying to use version 3.0. I'm already on 6.0, version 6.0, which doesn't work with the way 3.0 works, because there was security bugs in it or something, and it got fixed. So I'm not using 3.0. It's like, oh, okay, now I can kind of rewrite the code for you for that. And then you got to keep refining it and keep giving it guardrails till you kind of get down to the end. And I don't think LLMs will ever be able to read your mind. So that's why that's why you need human interaction, because it doesn't know what you really, really want. It's just this big statistical model of words and phrases and code that's been out there, and it doesn't know how to sift through the noise for you because it can't read your mind. That's
Well,
kind of like the best explanation I could have of why I think LLMs will never not need some kind of human interaction, because things change.
well, the Rubicon, I think, on that is going to be, the creation of chips, brain implants that it'll help the LLVM know what you're after. And this is
Nobody's
where,
doing that yet, though. Like Tesla, I mean, Elon Musk isn't doing anything Neuralink or anything like that.
yeah. So this is the part where I turn into the Luddite. Here I'm
Yeah.
the technologist, but then my Luddite flags come out. I'm like, yeah, I don't want something
Oh
implanted in
my
my brain.
God. Two vocab words for the day: Luddite, and what was the other one you said? Just yeah. Anyway, I was like,
Yeah,
big vocab day for Brent.
the Luddites, they were a group of people who lived in like the 1850s in England, who were highly resistant to the Industrial Revolution, and they didn't want anything done using new techniques, and they would even go around sabotaging things. And so yeah, that's where that Luddite name came from. So yeah, I'm kind
Oh,
of in the middle of.
Rubicon. Okay, now explain Rubicon for us normies.
You know what? Actually, doesn't that come from like Greek mythology or something like that? It's a river that once you cross that, boy, you've committed. Now I'm going to reveal my ignorance because I don't recall the exact
The river
mythology
in
associated with that.
Italy, an idiom, a TV series, and a company. Okay, but yeah, the river in Italy probably. Rubicon is a shallow river in northeastern Italy. Just yeah, software. Yeah. Anyway, so
Oh goodness, yeah, I thought it may have been like even one of those rivers, one of the several rivers that are in Hades. I thought I was making a mythological reference, but apparently not.
yeah.
So we do have some questions coming in here. Let's see. Is another extensive audit going to be performed prior to public launch?
Sorry, I was reading the last one. Hold on, I need to scroll up. Can you ask the question again? Can you answer it? If
Yeah, it is another extensive audit going to be performed prior to public launch? So we already have an expert in that precise field who is working on our contracts now, and so he is making those assessments even as on a step-by-step basis.
yeah,
So it's almost like a continuous thing rather than a stochastic. Oh, am I using big words again? Um, it's
stochastic. Oh yeah.
rather than looking at it as, okay, we're going to make a bunch of changes and all of a sudden we're going to do a big review and we're going to do that, let's say 2 months from now, pick a number, pick a date. It's more like, no, incrementally it being reviewed in continuously. How's that?
Yeah, and John, who's the guy that we hired to do this, actually has written a book on security and smart contracts. So yeah, if he's written a book on it, and people look up to him to kind of know that, he's been wonderful in taking over that. I still will have to hire another really good. I hope I can find another guy like him because after we launch this and we start to we're going to need a couple more people. I know for sure, Brent, we need a couple more C++ people and probably at least one more Solidity contractor. The thing is we're being very selective on the C++ people because, the code base is huge and we need really good C++ people that can understand that and really want to work on, AI for good or just the whole overall system and have the vision and the passion about it. We don't want just some coder to come in and say, I don't believe in this, but I'll help you, do that, because then you don't get the work
Yeah.
load that you want out of them. And I really want people that are excited about working on it, not just, oh yeah, I can code you up that routine, no problem. But I mean, we have, I get it. But if you realize that we're also going to be able to do some games as soon as this thing is launched and things like that, that's another kind of motivator for me personally, and I know for at least Justin probably is as well. When this thing's launched, then he wants to write some games. I mean, that's his passion. And I'm like, look, as soon as this is launched, we can start writing games all day long to put on this system. But anyway,
Justin is one of our developers, by the way.
Yeah.
It is kind of a, not kind of, it is an absolute sweet spot as far as I'm concerned, with what we're doing, to be able to be avant-garde at multiple fronts, Web3, blockchain, to be producing something that is such a benefit for everyone. And then to have so much fun, and it has the bells and whistles of fun at the same time, like the video games you're talking about. So I don't think we're going to have any shortage of people who are, when we're ready to bring on more developers who are going to be motivated to be part of the team, because this is a kind of a Candyland in terms of technology, opportunity, and just outright coolness, if I can just use that word. So
Yeah. So I love the question here about when you guys have customers beating at the gates. Are those people business protocols that want to be part of the network as nodes? Or are they people businesses that want to use the AI ML processing? And the answer is yes.
Yes.
Both. Yeah. It's pretty much both. It is more heavily right now people that want to be network as nodes because you're kind of in a cart before the horse or a catch-22 situation. Until you have the nodes, the people in the business want to see, it's one of those things that will have all the nodes in the world because people will embed this in their games and put this on their computers and stuff like that because they're not making anything right now. And if they can sit there and play a game, that's how we get the nodes to build up. But then the people that are wanting to use the AI and ML, like if they're going to go on Akash or Render or anything like that, those guys only have like 70 nodes, right? And they could already be used up full time by that. And so it's just a kind of a catch-22 of why we don't have really AI ML processing. They're interested. They're definitely interested. And we get pinged all the time about, well, let us know when you're live type of thing so we can start using it and evaluating it from the AI processing side of things. And it's really up to me. I haven't pushed it too much, but I'm going out to a conference to kind of explain to family offices about how they can reduce their costs in the compute space. And they're all in. They're like, wow, that's cool. But they kind of want to see that the thing's running. And so when the testnet's running and we can show them, here's how easy it is to do that, and I can demonstrate it, then they're going to be like, okay, now we can start to really evaluate you and make sure that you're on the main net and fully functional. And then we'll start to adopt your onboarding process and scaling process and all that. And so it's really kind of both areas, but we haven't been, we've been kind of saying, look, just wait. The nodes and all that are more important for us to make sure it scales correctly. And then we'll come to you and show you how this works. And then we can onboard them. And that's a bigger process because you have to switch their current way of doing things and scale them into it. So we've had a lot of people interested, but they're not really beating at the door. They're kind of saying, look, we're good for now. We know you're coming. And yes, once you're up and running, we'll kind of see about coming over there because we're going to save it 80% plus in our costs. Of course, they want to come onto our system, but they just want to make sure that, everything's easy onboarding and all that. And so that's kind of how that has been going.
And incidentally, when we talk about the two different, variants of who is it that's beating at our doors, there's also the variant that is both simultaneously. A
Yeah.
potential partner that comes in that says, "We've got 10,000 nodes, we've got 100,000 nodes, and we want AI run on the nodes as soon as they join." It's a twofer.
Yeah, it's a twofer. Yeah, there's been a lot of that. And so even partners that we're talking about that have some nodes are like, hey, can we integrate with your Genius AI? And I said, yeah, you can install this on all the nodes that you like. Render, for instance, all the renderer nodes can install our stuff on their computer or on their device, wherever it be, right? And so it's just another avenue, a channel for them. And no, it's like, okay, yeah, I can be on render, but I also can go through the Genius system and be sitting there idle waiting for these jobs to come in, whether it's a rendering job or an AI job. And we're going to offer both. So there's a way for you to, basically do a render farm, if you will. And we've been looking at that, and we want to, right now it's just jobs with um, GPU shaders, but there's no reason those GPU shaders and those GPU things have to do AI. They can do rendering as well. They just don't output it to the screen. They just save it to a file. And it's really, really similar. Little bit of changes because they're just in AI and ML, they're operating on, data like cat pictures and things like that. And the other side of it, they're operating on triangles um, and vectors and matrices and things like that to generate a picture, right? To generate a 3D picture of a scene. And so there's not much difference because it's still leveraging the GPU, and we'll have that ability. In fact, I was thinking about that, Brent. What are your thoughts on if you have a shader and you upload it and the data is coming in, and really you just say, okay, the data is triangles and, time based on matrix, animation and things like that. What is the difference if it just does that and, transforms the triangles into the scene and then outputs the data directly back, and maybe you're only doing like one portion of the screen. It's all very feasible, to do it like that because you can basically clip out the triangles. I don't see anything wrong with that. It's may just work. We'll have to do a test run. My gut is that there will just be some minor changes we'll have to do to our JSON files, our config files, to get that to work.
Yeah.
I don't even know that we actually need OpenGL kind of rendering. I think because Vulkan is the system that we're using. Vulkan can do compute shaders, and those compute shaders can just run like a rendering shader too. And as far as I can, my gut's telling me that. My brain, is telling me that it can just operate like a rendering shader or an AI ML shader, whatever you want.
Can you still hear me, by the way? I got a message saying the
Yes,
audio.
yeah. We can still hear you.
Okay. I just want to clarify to dog lovers, when Ken gave the example of processing cat images, it's not limited to cat images. It can actually do dog images as well.
Yeah, I have a dog image. Well, I like to say cat images because then you feed it a dog image and it goes like, nope, that's not in the cat domain. Sorry, that's not a cat. I don't know what it is, but if you run it through this dog, analysis, dog pictures, then I can tell you, oh yeah, that's a dog. But if you run a cat picture to that, it says not a dog. I don't know what it is. But yeah.
Hey, you know what, Ken? Something was just dropped here. Gentlemen, on a different note, how does it feel to be able to see the vision come to life? Especially Ken, 8 years in the making. How does it feel to be in the winning team and know it?
Well, so That being said, when you were reading that, my hair is standing on end and I'm getting chills. I don't know if it's just cold in my office, but thanks for that. It feels very, very good. And I am, in fact, there it goes again. So 3 times, now 4 times. That is really weird. I'm getting chills. So that's how it feels. Feels very, very good. I know that this is coming along, and the universe is just giving me a lot of love right now, and a lot of good vibes. So thank you, Adam, for saying that, because I'm getting a lot of energy right now just listening to that, and the universe is going, look, we told you you're going to be able to do it. Just keep at it. I was back in the I think it was the 90s when I was at EA. I got an award. I got 2 awards. One of them was Rookie of the Year, where it was a baseball player, and they give you these little statue things. It's kind of a thank you during the year. And the second one was I got Most Tenacious, which is a big old alligator there with his mouth open, like this. And the reason is because I am really freaking tenacious. I'll grab onto something, and when I know it's my vision that's going to happen, I will not let go of that. And as you can see, 8 years of all that. Do we plan on showing any demos? Sorry, it just popped up and I looked over. We'll answer that in a second. So that's kind of, thank you for that, and we can move on. I don't want to. It's lovely to get all that, whatever the endorphins or whatever's happening. Thanks universe for that, and give me the chills like 4 times in a row. But yeah, it feels very good. It feels very good.
And at the same time, the mixture of like, oh my gosh, this is surreal, and I sometimes use the word vertigo. Oh my gosh, vertigo, to realize what this is, what is happening, etc. That for me has actually been there for a while, and there needs to be a self-regulation, like breathe, stay on target, keep moving.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing that I've been doing over the last kind of 6 months is really gratitude. Making sure that I'm grateful every day and thanking the universe for that, everything that's happening with this, and that the plan is coming to fruition, and feeling good about 2025 and beyond, because that was the other kind of thing that was weighing on my mind, really, was all this regulation, and are they going to try to stop me, and all that. And I was trying to be very careful about not, getting sued by the SEC and Gary Gensler and all that. And so I was very, 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 very careful of not raising money to make sure I wasn't a security and that it was a utility, because more than, money, it's my destiny to have this get out there and survive no matter what. And so that was one of the kind of major speed bumps, was this bullshit regulation of trying to stop, crypto and the blockchain specifically from doing this, when they were, choke point 2.0. I've known about choke point 2.0 since its inception. It was a conspiracy theory until, Mr. Andreessen, P. Marca, went on Joe Rogan and said, "Oh, did you know that they're doing this?" And we're like, "Okay, somebody else is validating. So now it's not a theory anymore. It's actually a conspiracy." And, there's going to be a lot of heads rolling, I hope, about that, because that was just, in my opinion, just really almost devastating to bringing the US back to the forefront of technology development and being the forerunner. And it almost affected me. So I kind of became ninja about the technology a lot, and didn't want to say too much about it in order to not raise red flags with, the SEC, and also not raising money directly as much as possible for at least 8 years of it. Right. And I didn't mean to I didn't really raise money by making it on putting it on Uniswap either, because that was really to test the bridging side of things. And who knew that everybody was going to get excited about it and kind of come in. And I'm glad everybody did. and all that, and has had good effect on the pricing and stuff like that for the end users. But so good. Let's move on from that.
We've got one question here that's just asking about, the platform, general platforms or special built platforms. You're not going to get any benefit from a specially built platform. This is designed to work on, the GPUs that you find across a range of platforms and, purposes, etc. This is all part of our philosophy of horizontal scaling rather than vertical scaling. And this is a question we've answered a number of times in the past, and we're going to keep on answering it as we go into the future. So no, please don't go off and build for yourself a $20,000 rig thinking that you're going to hoard all the GNUS tokens.
Well, so on that note, that is our number one priority, is to build, like you said, this horizontal scaling mechanism. But we have been thinking and talking about making a vertical scaling thing like you're talking about. And we are having requests from some businesses saying, hey, can you build a compute infrastructure that's also does web services or database services for us at the 80% discount? And yes, we can do that very easily. We can just white label any one of the products out there already that are open source. And I plan on having something like that where we could just take, run on Flux's, for instance, their technology, and then embed GNUS in it and launch our own kind of white labeled version of that. But our main focus is not that right now until this is all proven out. But it wouldn't be very hard for us to change out their token for our token. And we have the patent for that anyway. So if they bitched and moaned about it, I'd just be like, oh, yeah, here's our patent. So, sorry, but you're open source and you're MIT. There's nothing you can do about it, really, other than so it's one of those things where, yeah, we're thinking about doing that, but that does go against the grain of our vision to decentralize and distribute and horizontally scale both the payments and the architecture horizontally.
Certainly, that's going to prompt more discussion between Ken and I after this call. Like, okay, let's get into some details of this. Make certain we're on. Got this.
Well, you and I have had a discussion a little bit about this before, so
yeah,
it's not something new. But yeah, it's low priority right now. But for me personally, I think it wouldn't take more than about a week for me to put up a system like that using GNUS.ai and have it available. And the other reason I talk about that is because there are certain verticals like healthcare that may want a private version that operates internally and kind of only for a certain set of nodes that they have on AWS. I'm not sure that they would really need GNUS in that particular thing, in that particular regard. They could just clone GNUS and then make it private themselves and use some other internal token. But
that's kind of my point.
Yeah, exactly. So it's one of those things where maybe we could do it, and we'll take it. I think when we start scaling and integration scaling with these companies that want to use AI and ML, then we'll talk to them about their needs. And so it'll be like oh yeah, you kind of need to be private on this because you're a healthcare company. And so you can use GNUS either, because it has kind of the privacy preserving stuff in it. And here's how it works. But if that doesn't work for you, then sorry, we'll provide, we'll move on to the next person, right? Because we have so many of them that we're going to be onboarding. And so it's going to be one of those things where somebody like a Deloitte or something will say, hey, we really want to integrate your systems over there. It's like, okay, fine, here you go. Go ahead, go for it. But we're not going to really apply that because it doesn't follow our vision, but you're welcome to use our technology to do that internally. And, I don't want to get into supporting centralized private systems as much as we can, or as little as we can. That's my goal.
Yeah, I would say that the idea of the virtual networks, a topic that's come up over and over again, would be the first like low hanging fruit in that arena. But that's not the same thing at all. That really isn't. Um,
Yeah.
so
Well, Crypto Dennis has a great question. There will be any marketing in the test phase? Yes, absolutely. So, we got something. I got to look online, but we have already, yes, 100%. And there's going to be a really good podcast between me and a panel, I think, coming up. Hopefully, I don't know what the date is at this point, but it's in a very um, tier one Cole, as they call them, key opinion leaders um, podcasting system thing. And so, yes, there's going to be a lot of marketing going on over the next couple weeks, I would guess.
and let's see. I don't see any more questions. I don't think.
There was one comment by Daniel Clark. Yes, I'm the little guy. That's the point. Horizontal scaling is great for you and humanity. Love it. Yes, absolutely, 100%. Daniel, thanks for getting it. It's like on the,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. Yeah. Well, we got about 10 minutes. Anything you want to talk about in general for AI? I mean, I know we're discussing a lot about Genius, but
Oops. More things have just popped up. Here's one. I have a question regarding NexLogic. What's the latest on?
well, their partnership is now we're going to start working with them to onboard their nodes, and like we had discussed earlier, Brent's writing something to run a test of about 10,000 internal nodes, and then once that's working, then we can go to next logic and put it on like 10,000 of their nodes. They were asking, hey, we can work on this, blah, 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 blah. But it's like, well, there's nothing really for you to work on. Here's the code, link it, or install this app, right? That's pretty much what they're going to do. And so they're not going to have to really do much. It's like, here, we got the Linux app, install it on there. We've tested it with 50 here over the next couple of weeks. Now we're phasing in the scaling, right? It's like 50, or first it's like 10, then it's 20, then it's 50, and we're exponentially. And then after 50, then it's 1,000, then it's 10,000, then it's 20,000, then it's 50, then it's 100,000, then it's 200,000, and then it's millions after that. And so that's kind of how we're phasing in that. It's a slow, phased in scaling that I believe is the right move for us. What are your thoughts, Brent?
Absolutely. I mean, obviously, with me spearheading the testing of at scale, the feedback from that is going to be key for then estimating, okay, what is our next stage, and for that matter, even having that testing go beyond 10,000, I've been in a position to say, okay, now I am doing a simulation of 100,000, etc. Even inclusive, perhaps of such things as Sybil attacks and whatnot. But this has been kind of our vision, I think, for a while now, is to open up that funnel, and the pace at which we open up that funnel, is in accordance with the stability and metrics that we want to see as we keep on implementing. And incidentally, we see some more questions here.
Fake
Okay.
taxi. What's the best way to onboard normies to Genius technology? Basically, install one of the apps. That's it. That's all they have to do. They'll install the wallet, and that'll give them access to that. And it's all behind the scenes. So normies are just going to be like, oh, hey, I want to play that game. Okay, go play that game. Or for you, Fake Taxi, the one thing I was thinking about is that it would be really easy to take one of the, we've already done this, the GitHub GitHub video playback systems, and make just kind of your own YouTube app, which is very, very easy because GitHub's already out there. And the fact that when you're playing a video, it's barely touching the GPU on the video playback side of things. We've already proven that, and we have an Android video playback. And so it would just be, hey, instead of YouTube, I have my own, streaming application that's embedded Genius. Here, just go use this for, watching sports or whatever you're doing. And then basically, as you're doing that, you get everything for free. You get the premium service for free if you agree to let me use the GNUS.ai network in the background, because I'll earn money for you guys that never want to pay for anything. You don't have to, because I can earn money for every single user that's watching the sports channel or whatever, or the YouTube streaming service, whatever you hook into your streaming service. And then it's fairly simple to build those type of things, because there's lots of pseudo streaming services and code on GitHub. In fact, we did this to showcase that back in Malaysia. And so that's kind of the answer to that question. Let's see. News about the frozen funds. We don't. That's getting kind of annoying, but we've been kind of focusing on the testnet. Once that opens up, this is going to be awesome, though, because we're down to the last burn of about 90,000 tokens. And if we got that money back, we could easily burn those 90,000 tokens with that fund. But the good news is that we have about 30,000 tokens through fees that we've earned that we're going to start burning those as well. And so every time we keep earning fees, we're just going to keep burning the Genius side of things until we get down to the original amount that we had released. So we have about 89,000 or something like that to go. And so when this thing really, really starts trading and we start earning fees, we not only earn Ethereum fees, we earn Genius fees for all the transactions in our treasury. And then we'll just start burning them so that we can get that back. And then when we recover the funds, it really doesn't matter. That'll just go into our treasury. And then we can just, we can either buy back or put it in the liquidity pool. So we're almost done with burning all those exploited tokens anyway. So it makes it less of an issue. Of course, I want the money back, but we're trying to move past that, and it becomes less important, but we're still pinging them all the time going, hey, what's going on? How do we get our money back? Blah, blah, blah. But we're working with the government. And I hope after January, a lot will change, because, the Department of Homeland Security hopefully will still be in business, with all the Doge cuts. But hopefully we can do that. Yes, there will be merchandise available. Thank you for asking. I just printed a bunch of t-shirts and a sweatshirt, and we're going to put out our store soon where you can order some new merchandise online if you want, but we're going to have special kind of more higher end merchandise that is like a sweatshirt like this that has embroidered Genius logo on it. Actually, I think on this side, but those I ordered and they're back. They're being shipped to me, but those are going to be a little more expensive because that's the high end thing that is usually reserved for the team. But we will put those online for all the community to buy as well. Those are a little different because we can't drop ship order those. We have to, print them. I have to spend the money up front. I have to give it to somebody, or I have to do it myself where I ship it out, and I'm not going to do that anymore. Too busy on other stuff. But yeah, we'll figure that out. I'll talk with the admins, and I'm going to take a bunch of those to to Miami to give out some of those t-shirts as well.
Anyone using our network, I think we should just call them geniuses. They can have their maybe merchandise. I'm a genius. What does that mean? Well, I'm using the GNUS.ai network. My own take.
All right. Yeah, Genius instead of premium. Thanks, Mojo. That's a good things on that. All right. So we're about a minute away anyway. Let's see. Do you think AI agents can help onboarding new users to crypto where you don't need to know swaps, change, etc.? You tell your agent in the wallet that you want what you want, and then it'll route it correctly. Oh, that's a great idea, Adam. Yes, I think that's actually very possible in the wallet. The wallet is developed to be like Trust Wallet with super genius trading capabilities, and like I had talked about in the past, you can actually use our own AI system to do stuff like that. That is kind of the plan for the wallet. Oh, there's something interesting. You can actually overlay the chats in here. I didn't realize that. So that's cool. I'll scroll up now. It's not going to scroll up, but I should have done that in the first place, because I just overlaid. There's a button to overlay the chats inside our recording. So yeah, and I can't scroll up, but if here, let me repost the dashboard. It says show. Oh, okay, there we go. Oh, that's cool. So I hit the show part here, and then this is the dashboard. So the first part was the bug bounty, and the second one was the dashboard. This system's so cool. All I did was click on show, and it put that up in the video at the bottom. So, okay, I'll know that for the future, but that's cool. You can hide and show the chat in the overlay. So next time we'll have that on at all times. I think that's cool. I love the system. I mean, it's a little bit expensive, but wow, it's got some cool features.
Oh yeah, this is really slick.
Yeah, really slick. There you go. We'll remember that in the future. All right. Well, on that note, oh, this is interesting. Let me see what happens here. That's cool too. Every time the thing comes up, you can hit show, and it'll show that briefly. So we can do that in the future when we're answering the questions.
Wow.
We'll just hit that, and it'll pop up like that. That is way cool. All right, I like it.
Well, I will say that speaking for myself, and I suspect for Ken as well, prior to us stepping into this session, both of us were doing that, like, Hindu deity thing where each of us has like 8 arms and we're going like crazy trying to get things done. Then all of a sudden the cameras get rolling, all those extra arms disappear. We go back looking like calm, regular human beings. But as soon as we're done here, man, it is back to the grind. So, and I think, I know I am like, okay, back. We've glad to have had this opportunity to meet up with everyone again after the holidays. Obviously, it's really exciting times. And want to, of course, also thank Ken for so many of the answers to the questions today, and for actually being, of course, again, as someone else noted, the man with the vision who for so many years has been pulling for this, and never wavering. So, I think I can say on behalf of all of us who are pursuing genius, thank you very much, Ken. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, and thank you, everyone. I love the fact that I love the community that's behind this and pushing, and it makes me feel good that people are willing to come on board and kind of help push the train forward and all that. And I appreciate you guys very much. And again, thank you to the universe for everything that you've given me in the abundance and all that, and the ability to do this. I know that this is really something very important for humanity, and getting choked up about it. So thank you, everyone. And I guess we can end the stream there. Thanks, Brent, once again for coming on. And, look forward to next week. I'm going to try to keep this up as much as possible and kind of more focus on the overall state of the, GNUSpective, or the genius perspective. Because just keep talking about Testnet, and when Testnet is old news now, and we can start talking about the world according to genius perspective, right? Great. All right. Thanks, Brent. We're going to end the stream now, and we look forward to next week.